All right, perfect. I think we are good. We're gonna get started here. So thank you all so much for being here. And I got every session. I got to give a huge shout out to the PSJA team for all the hard work that's gone into. We heard Dr. Davalos in the morning talk about everything that the instructional technology at PSJA is doing. So I'm certainly grateful that I got the invite and be part of this conference. And again, thank you all for being here, spending your Saturday with us. I'm sure it's been worth it. I think it's been an amazing experience so far. And again, we are ready to get started. There's a link in the chat if you didn't register for the event. It's there. We're going to also, at the end of our session, we'll be sharing the survey link for this particular session. I'll give you one as well, but that's the idea. So this session is on instructional AI tools for tomorrow's classroom. Basically, a lot of the tools that we're looking at, I'll just spend a little bit more time on what we are doing. So we do have an AI facilitator. I think it's an AI, but that's really cool the way the PSJ team is doing it. Keeping track of what's going on in the session. The sessions are being recorded, so you'll have access to them at a later time. If I'm not mistaken, they will be on the PSJA Instructional Tech YouTube channel. So that's pretty awesome that you can go back and continue learning and also touch up on some of the things because I know my sessions go a little fast. There's a lot of that we're covering, but it's available for you. If there's any questions, add them onto the chat and I'll address them as we are progressing through our slide deck. So what we're doing today in this session is really identify some of the AI tools as assistants in what we are doing, in what we do in our classroom. We're going to experience these tools just a little bit. You jump into one of them and see how it works. And then we're going to discover how AI tools support planning, differentiation, and engagement for all learners. So, hello, Arlinda. Thank you for saying hi in the chat. So, hello, everyone, once again. So, if you don't know, my name is Omar Lopez. There's the music. It's going to go off in just a minute. I should have lowered the volume, but that's all right. My name is Omar Lopez. I am an instructional technology specialist at Region 1. Before that, I was a middle school teacher. I taught 7th grade ELA, 8th grade science, and then technology applications my last 2 years at the district. I believe wholeheartedly that if we are intentional in how we use technology in our classroom to complement our instructional practices, to embed tech to where it impacts student learning, not embed technology because, oh, technology is fancy, let's use it. That's not the idea. The idea is for us to find ways to really level the playing field for those that might be struggling, for those that might need a little extra, or for those that want to take it beyond what's happening in the classroom. I think technology can help us with that. So we're going to get started with a little warm up. And no, we're not doing Pilates or we're not doing yoga. We're not doing any of that, but we're going to warm up. I know you guys have been learning all morning, but I want to throw in just a little difference so we can reconnect those brains. We decompressed during lunch, so we're going to fire up those neurons once again so that we can get going. And yeah, so the first one is a song. I'm going to ask you to guess the song. If you know the name, type it in the chat right away. If you don't know the name, then, well, you'll learn it afterwards. If you want to type it, great. If you don't want to type it, just guess it to yourself. Here's the song. Yes, that is Danger Zone from Top Gun. Thank you, Lisa. It's a great movie. I think Maverick is also a wonderful movie. So if you haven't watched it, check it out. Maverick's really good. So that is Danger Zone. This is a band. Now, this is interesting. You recognize the band. See what we have. And if you said The Doors, said yes, it is The Doors. Some of us vintage folks say The Doors. Some of the younger teachers always say Three Doors Down. I'm like, oh, okay, it is Three Doors Down. But when I was preparing this, yes, it is indeed The Doors. Jim Morrison, I think he was amazing. Anyways, here we have another song. I'm sorry, no, these are AI movies. No, name the song. Song. And if you said it takes two, that is correct. It takes two is that song. Here we have movies, but we're gonna skip right through the movies. Actually, maybe because these are AI movies, so let's see if yeah, it's not showing up for some reason. But name the song. This is the last song we have. Yes, Neon Moon. Now we can come back. All of us that took us to some of y'all's prom night or back in the day. So yeah, it is Brooks and Dunn Neon Moon. So okay, great. Now that our neurons are reconnected and fired up, now I think we're ready to jump in. And that leads us to the driving question of why we are here. Really, we want to talk about how these instructional AI tools can be integrated into our classroom activities to support the diverse learning styles and needs of our children. We want to see how we can use AI to help us differentiate, to help us find activities to reconnect, engage, and help students really internalize the concept that we are talking about. That's the idea behind this session. And really quickly, we're going to review. We're not going to spend a lot of time on what AI is, but I think it's important that we lay somehow a foundation of how AI works in a sense, and how. And AI has three parts. First, it starts off with the data sets. A group of people with a lot of information fed that information to a computer, and then the large language model was developed. So that's where the data set is. I mentioned earlier there is a new uh, data storage facility being built in Abilene, Texas, over there in the middle of nowhere. So that might bring some jobs to the area. This is by OpenAI, so they're going to have a supercomputer in Abilene, Texas. That's where a lot of these data sets are going to be stored. Now, in those data sets, there's a learning algorithm that starts learning patterns based on people's interactions with the chatbot. For instance, we might have somebody over at El Paso, a second grade teacher in El Paso, looking for activities for her second grade students so they can talk about vocabulary development, right? So she or he looks for that, and then the AI starts learning, oh, this is what the teacher asked for, this is some of the context behind what was going on in that interaction. And now the AI, or this large language model, starts figuring out some of the patterns that could help another potential user. So then the AI comes up with a prediction, and then it gives us the output of what we're looking for. Really quick, three forms of AI. Reactive AI, that's the one that we've had for years, whether you're using Siri or Alexa or even another Google device that reacts to basically the data that's been fed. Then this predictive learning on algorithms, your social media algorithms, your Amazon algorithms, your Netflix algorithms. So whatever interaction you have, then it starts predicting what it thinks you need next. But it's not necessarily what it thinks. It's that based on your interactions, it suggests something else. And generative AI, when it was released in 2022, the generative AI, that's like ChatGPT, OpenAI, those models where we ask a question, it generates an answer for us. That's a lot of what's being built now. So in generative AI, there's an input. That's us asking a question that is answered to the machine. The machine makes a series of steps, and now we have the output. Then we get what we are looking for out of the AI, and then we can work with that. And that's where we take a breath, elongate the spine. Some of us have been sitting for a while. Some of us are standing. Some of us are relaxing on a couch or sofa. But take that deep breath, elongate the spine, and let's move on. So the chatbots, there are four chatbots. Well, there's five, maybe there's a little more, but the main ones, chatbots. We start with ChatGPT, which is very talkative. It elaborates on everything everything we ask. Then we have Microsoft Copilot. That's very concise, very short in its responses. You ask for this, there's the answer. That's it. Don't ask me to elaborate anymore. And Google Gemini, that is a good balance in between. Now with what Google Gemini is doing, it's gotten better. I still think ChatGPT is phenomenal. Claude AI, some people love Claude. It's all right. But there's also Perplexity. Perplexity is also really good for scholarly research because it cites all the art. It gives you research articles and peer-reviewed articles. That's where it's getting the information from. So it's good for school. Now we're gonna jump straight into one of my favorite tools. School AI has become one of my favorite tools for more than one reason. I mean, there's one good reason, but because more than one. So School AI is phenomenal, and we're gonna talk about that. So I'm gonna show you School AI from my perspective first. You'll interact with it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about, or I'll talk a little bit more about what School AI is. So I'm gonna jump into School AI. And I'm going to be here on my Launchpad, and I'm going to share the link on here. And the presenters, Joe and Kristen, talked a little bit about this. Currently, I am in the School AI Launchpad. Sometimes we like to say on any website is our landing page, but they say Launchpad, which is good. And notice this button here says Unlock 2.0 beta. So there's going to be a transition from 1.0 to 2.0. It's essentially the same thing. It feels and looks a little bit different, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But right now we're working with this. I think here is what makes it easy for us to work with this. Now, what separates School AI from all these other applications out there that, that are AI driven? Well, the main thing here is we have Spaces. Spaces is a chatbot that we design and we as teachers have total control of, so that our students are interacting and are learning in a space that it's safe and it's appropriate for them, and it gives them that space. I mean, I'm being redundant here with the word space, but it gives them a place where they're able to explore and understand and analyze and be critical about what they're learning, and also where they can engage in reflection as far as the content that's being taught. And we'll explore it a little bit. I want to show you before we get into the spaces, because that's where we're going to spend all our time. I want to show you that it also has tools where we can generate a lesson plan, a worksheet, a PLC agenda for administrators. We can translate some text. We can level some text. If we have some extended text that we need to level because our students need that accommodation, we could drop it in there and it'll level it for us. IEP, vocabulary list, and a couple of other tools. It might not have 1,000 tools like other applications work with, but here are some that we can build from and just use. So these are tools. Then we also have assistants. The assistants are really good because I can use a space designer to help me design a space to really meet the needs of my students. And if I want to be super intentional and very aligned to standards, and I want it very specific, I can use Space Designer. I can have a co-teacher with me that teaches the same thing that I'm doing, but it's a chatbot. AI and education coach. This is a good one for us, so we can learn a little bit more about using AI in the classroom. Common Core expert. They don't have TEKS yet. I'm gonna send 1,000 emails to them and say, hey, can you add the TEKS core TEKS expert? That'll be good to have. Curriculum coach, literacy coach. So all of these are here, so that way we can build from what we have. Organize is once you create spaces. If you look at these are all spaces where students interact. I can create folders and organize them. Let's say first 6 weeks, second 6 weeks, or maybe academic concepts. Maybe you have linear equations. Maybe you have industrial revolution. Maybe you have character analysis spaces. You can organize them accordingly. And in this area, this is in organize, where you create your folders or collections. And then there's a community. Opens up a new one where it goes into the communities of School AI, where you can connect with other School AI users and share some of your resources, and then they can share some of these resources. I'm gonna move my menu here. There you go. Okay, cool. And we're back in School AI. Again, I said, why is this an amazing tool? Because we have spaces. And I'm going to show you first Discover Spaces. In Discover Spaces, these are all spaces that are created by staff, and these are all former educators at School AI. Then you have some of them that are created by subject matter experts, such as Maria, the math tutor, Reggie, the reading tutor, Sam, the science tutor, Theo, the technology tutor, and Tim, the test prep tutor. I can launch these spaces just like they are right now, and I can share with my students so they can start interacting and learning about these concepts. I like this one. I showed, where is history? Where is the history tutor? Herc, the history tutor. And in this says Herc, the history tutor is interactive, engaging space where K-12 students can receive personalized tutoring in history. It's not focused on any concept in history, but as a student, I have the liberty of going in there and say, I want to learn about Emiliano Zapata. What can you tell me about Emiliano Zapata? And it'll start telling me about Emiliano Zapata. So it's targeted to history, any concept in history. This is if you want to be super general in it. But you could also go and scroll down a bit, and here are greatest hits. Shark Tank, Change the Character, Alien Invasion. I don't even know what that is. Third grade area perimeter. So in third grade, this is Miss Charlotte Hollinger. I think she teaches in McAllen. And then there's pedagogy spaces. And then there are more where history comes to life with these chatbots. Again, these are all spaces, and you're going to see it in action that somebody's created. These are created by the School AI team. But they are shared. Some are shared publicly and by teachers. Others are created, and you don't have to share it publicly. But I'm going to show you what it is now. So I'm going to go to Spaces once again here on that tab, and I'm going to create my own space. So I see the ones that I've created. These are all the ones that I've used. I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to hit create. I'm going to go back to where we landed just so that we can go through this again. This is my launchpad. Spaces, drop down, create. Then I'm going to hit create once again. Now I have some information here that I need to fill out. So I'm going to start out really quickly with the title and prompt. Today, since we've been talking about, I mean, we by me, because that's the presentations that I've done. I've been talking about Science 7.11a. This is the TEKS guide. Now, the reason I look for TEKS guide, like right here, like you see on your screen, is because I don't have a scope and sequence. I don't have a curriculum to follow. So therefore, I go to the TEA website and look at the TEKS guide. If your district has already provided you with a scope and sequence, a timeline, or a curriculum, you can just copy and paste the TEKS from there and use them in the space. I don't have one, so I'm running here. I also don't want to put just Science 7.11a because science has changed. The AI might not have been updated, and it might get confused. And sometimes we got to make sure that it's the standard, the verb in the standard that we're looking for, the concept, that's what we have. So I'm in TEKS guide. This is where I'm at. I searched for science, grade 7, and then I went to 711A. The reason I'm showing you this is because that's where I'm getting my standard from. You will probably get it from whatever your district provided to you. But I'm back in my School AI space creator. Since we're learning about the human impact of human activity, or the impact of human activity on water systems, that's what I'm going to title it. Human this is the watershed. That's the one I used last time. Human impact on the watershed. I'm gonna tell the prompt, help my students I never realized how bad my typing is and until I'm typing in front of people. And I'm gonna paste the standard that comes directly from TEA. Again, you probably have it directly in your, or you probably have it in your scope and sequence or your curriculum, so you can paste it there. But I don't have to paste it here because this has an alignment as I mentioned, the speakers mentioned. I can go in here where it says standards right here on the left side, and Texas, 7th grade, science, and here I'm gonna scroll down to 711. Oh, let's see here. So 711A is not showing up there, but it's probably it's coming. It's coming. There you go. Analyze the beneficial and harmful influences of human activity on groundwater, surface water. Now, as you see, here we have 2020, but if I look up here, there's still, let's see where the 20, no, it is 2017. 2020, they're just not in order for some reason, but I'm going to click add and it's added. Analyze the beneficial and harmful influences of human activity. That's the same one that's here on the TEKS guide from TEA. That's my standard. And there's also something I can do. I'm going to upload a file. I have, where is, did I have it open? No. Let me open it for you. I have a reading, an informational text that I got from the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I'm adding a PDF. And that's just to provide more information for my students because it's a resource that I'm using. Now, if you have some content, if you have some materials that you're using that are in PDF, you can add it. If you have something, if you saw a while ago, see, you can add materials from your Google Drive, your Dropbox, OneDrive, or even add a link. If you have a link that you want the space to use, the space that I'm creating is a chatbot that my students are going to interact with. If you have those materials, you can attach them here. The rest thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to generate all fields with AI, and I'm going to let the AI create a picture. I'm going to let the AI design, give me the instructions for the teacher and the students. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here so that you can see what it says for the teacher. This space is designed to help students analyze how human activities can both positively and negatively impact groundwater and surface water within a watershed. So this takes it directly from the TEKS. Notice it's still aligned here. The content aligns with standard 711A and aims to foster a deeper understanding of sustainable water practice. So when we talk about sustainability, that also connects to the UNESCO goals, so the UN sustainable standards, sustainability standards. Here is a description for the students: explore how people affect the water in our environment, learn about ways humans can help. Okay, so it's got that. Now, what I want to do here is I want to launch a preview of what this will look like. I'm going to show you a quick preview, and then you're going to act as a student and jump in there when I give you the code. So this is what the students are going to see. Where it says preview, you see the little S, you see that little dot blinking. That means it's thinking, it's getting ready to ask me questions. And it says, today we're exploring how human actions help or harm watersheds, the areas where all water drains to a common place. You learn how we impact ground and water surface. What's one thing you do in your daily life that uses water? Shower and brush my teeth. Now, it's important to say that everybody will get different questions, but the idea of understanding the impact of these activities is still the same. So not every person is going to be using, not every one of your students is going to be answering the same questions. Great example: when you use water for showers or brushing your teeth, the water goes down the drain and eventually moves through your local watershed. How do you think your daily water could affect the rivers, lakes, and groundwater in your area? If I waste too much water, then we might run out. Right? So simple questions, and I'm interacting with the chatbot. I'm going to show you something really quickly here. Exactly. Using too much water can stress local supplies, but what we put down the drain matters too. Can you think of things people do at home or outside that might harm water quality in a watershed? Notice if I am a student that has difficulties with reading, I can hit speak.
Exactly. Using too much water can stress local supplies. But what we put down the drain matters too. Can you think of things people do at home or outside that might harm water quality in a watershed?
And now I heard it. And yes, we know it's AI. It's not that robotic like other applications that sound super robotic. But now I can come in here, and if I don't want to type anymore, I can hold space on my keyboard and start talking, or I hit the microphone. Yes, I always see my Theo washing his car and then changing the oil, and then sometimes it spills and he just leaves it there running into the ground. So here is my response. I spoke into it. School AI puts it into text. So that's a good way for our students that are going to take telpas, and maybe not even just telpas, but for everybody to practice speaking and then changing it and seeing this into text. So there I send it. And notice how I put my tío. And I don't know if all of you knew that tío had an acento on the letter I. Look, I always see my tío washing his car. And then the AI tells me that's a great example of harmful impact. Oil and chemicals can spill on the ground and get washed into the watershed when it rains, polluting rivers and groundwater. What do you think your tío could do differently? Wow, that is pretty good. It's going back to Spanish. So I'm going to try something here. My English is not that good. Can you talk to me in Spanish, please? And I'm going to send it. Now, the teacher's not doing anything different. The student is only asking to be talked to in Spanish. And now the AI switch dice, claro, puedo hablar español, en español. Lo que hace tu tío puede contaminar el agua si el aceite llega al suelo o a la calle. ¿Qué crees que él podría hacer diferente para evitar contaminar el agua? Okay, so perfect. So now if the student needs to, he or she can switch to Spanish and start talking Spanish. So again, a teacher, I didn't do anything. The AI did it. Yes, it is pretty awesome. So I'm going to stop there because I want you to interact with the chatbot and see what it tells you and then get your thoughts on it. So I'm going to zoom out. I created my space. Again, I gave it a title. I told the AI what I wanted to do, help my students learn about human impact on watershed. Here's a standard. I connected the standard. I added some a reading for background knowledge. I told the AI generate everything else. I preview it. I'm going to save and launch. I can send it directly to Google Classroom. That way my students click on the link and start working from there. Or I can use a QR code. What I'm going to do in my case, since we're virtually, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And if you can jump in that, just you're gonna sign in with your name, first name or initials or whatever. You're gonna sign in, and now you're gonna be a student in MySpace. Notice MySpace. How many of you miss MySpace? Anyways, that's coming. So MySpace is pretty awesome. Anyway, so I'm gonna see the students joining right now. So please click on the link that I just shared. It's a code. Thank you, Dina, and thank you, Cindy. I wish I had prizes because you were the first two to join, but I don't. But you get a big thank you for me, or a high five. There you go. Thank you, Melda. All right, so my students are now joining, and they're coming into my space. And if you look at my screen, you probably opened up another tab or what have you. But if you come to the screen really quickly, you see that my students, which is you all, are joining my space. Who would have thought that students joining my space was going to be a thing? But students joining my space is a thing right now. So I see my students joining, and I'm going to refresh. And then I'm also going to refresh on top. So I got several of you joining right now. Some of you might still be logging in or not coming in, but I want you all to start interacting with the chatbot and answer its questions, and then maybe ask some questions too, ask for clarification. And then I'm going to have a request of one of y'all because I want you to start answering just a little differently, but I'm going to tell you who. So I'm going to pause for a moment, and so that I'm going to let you interact with the chatbot while I see what's going on right here. Yeah, there's some music playing in the background. So right away, if you look back on my screen here, I get a insight and I get a little notification. On the left side, I see my students that are in there, and some of them are interacting with the chatbot. But right on the right side panel, my insights, I get a notification that tells me student expressed uncertainty about about what a watershed is, indicating a gap in foundational understanding needed for this lesson. So as a teacher, it's telling me, hey, Sydney needs some help. She doesn't really understand what a watershed is. And then it gives me a rationale. So if I click on it, teachers should know the student needs a clear definition and examples before moving forward. This is an opportunity for targeted instruction. So what can I do? I can jump in where Cindy's conversation is. I see everything that Cindy is talking about, and it says, I'm not sure I understand what a watershed is. A watershed, and then the AI gives it a definition. Think of it as a big bowl that catches all the water in one spot. Does that make sense? Can you picture any watersheds? So now what I can do, oh my goodness, midway reach, that's fine. So what I can do, I'm gonna say, hey Cindy, remember the lesson we did on Monday, where I showed the video about watersheds and the Rio Grande River. So as a teacher, notice I joined Cindy's conversation, and now I send it to Cindy, and Cindy is going to see this in her chat, where I'm going in there and the School AI is responding, or dot, and then I added my conversation to Cindy. Cindy, it might take a little bit, but you should see it on your chat, Cindy, where I go in there and intervene, redirect, clarify misconceptions, do what a teacher does to make sure that that students are understanding the concept. Now, I'm gonna refresh again on my end here. So notice how I don't have much on Miss Leslie here, or Nora. Nora's just getting started. Tere is just getting started. And notice how everybody's got different questions. Leslie, Cindy, Dina. I want to show you something here. If you look at my screen really quickly, I know some of you are interacting with it, but look at Cindy's emoji. Cindy is feeling very positive. So I can see the emojis are different than, so Dina is feeling neutral, Julie's feeling neutral, Cindy's feeling positive. That means she's making progress through learning that concept. But I want to throw in a little curveball here, Cindy. If you don't mind, on your chat, start typing that this is very frustrated, that you don't get it, that you can even say this is boring. So if you can do me that favor, Cindy, por favor, just type in the interaction on your chat, just say this is frustrating, I don't get it, this is boring. Just that type of word, those type of words. Students suggesting switching from harmful to environmental friendly products for cleaner dishes. This is good. Teacher can reinforce this and encourage more real life solutions from the student. That's good. Good point right there, Tere. Julie, student quickly and accurately identify construction as a human activity that contributes to increased erosion and sediment in local creeks and rivers. Student demonstrates understanding of real world collections. So this is what we want to see, ladies and gentlemen, when we are talking about when the students are interacting with these chatbots. Okay, how am I doing on time? I'm good. Oh, look at this. If you look at my screen really quickly, notice that orange dot. That's an indication right away for me as a teacher. That's a flag that say, hey, something's happening with Cindy. Look at Cindy right away came up. And I want to show you first, I want to show you her emoji. Notice how it changed to feeling negative. So that's another indicator for me as a teacher, as I'm monitoring the chat, working with other students, and I see it. Oh my goodness, something happened with Cindy. She's not feeling well. Let me see my insights. And now it says student expressed frustration during the activity, which may signal confusion. disengagement, or difficulty with the topic. So right away, now I get a flag that says, hey, intervene here. Cindy needs some help. So that I can see as a teacher, I can go in there and redirect or just kind of clarify something for Cindy if she's got any issues. Now I'm going to look at Dina right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And Dina's doing great, but for some reason I need to talk to Dina, right? So what I can do, I can come in here and click on her chat and then press the pause. And now Dina, notice here, it says pause. So she can no longer interact with the chatbot because I paused it for her, because maybe I need to talk to her or something's going on. I need to bring up something important. So I paused the chat and we are, I can talk to the student. If I need to, once she's back, then I can just hit resume chat. And now she goes back to interacting with the chatbot. All of this as she and the rest of the students are learning what I want them to learn about the impact of human activity on watersheds. So I'm going to do something here. I'm going to end it. I'm going to end this chat because we got to move on to another application. I'm going to hit end session. And what this will do is start creating a summary of every interaction with my students, and it'll give me like an overall summary of what happened with all these interactions. While it does that, I want to show you here that I can download the CSV. I'm going to hit open file, and then I'm going to bring it to the screen in a little bit. There it is. And I have everything that Cindy typed. Here's Cindy, there's the student ID, the session ID, created, updated, and then assistant, welcome. And then the user, yes, I haven't noticed, assistant, user. So everything that the chatbot said is recorded. Everything that the student said is recorded. So I need to have a conversation with counselors, parents, principals, administrators, or even with a student. I can pull this up and I have everything that was said from all the students. Now I have how did they feel throughout, a summary of the whole interaction, and then some insights about each of the students here. So I think this is pretty cool because it summarizes everything. But here's the summary: the chatbot generates a summary overall. Pollution warriors, students demonstrated strong understanding of how pollution impacts watersheds. Excellent. That's exactly what the student expectation is asking me, that the students are analyzing the impact of human activity. And I know that because that's what the cognitive verb in the TEKS tells me, analyze. Good. Local explorers, 10 students demonstrated real world engagement. Perfect, because we need students to make connections to the real world and the phenomena that's happening in around us. Eco innovator, John had a breakthrough moment by suggesting practical solutions like using eco-friendly products to protect watersheds. Hey, John, we're going to work on a PBL. How about next time you're the PBL leader and help us design a solution? Because now I see who's really shining. Foundation builder, Jane expressed confusion about the basic concept of a watershed, highlighting a need for further support in understanding foundational concepts. Okay, you know what? I need to talk to Jane before she goes to PE, or I'm going to pull her from band, or spend a little time with her so that we can clarify misconceptions. So all of these is given to me after my session ends, and that's pretty much what the space does. Now, if we want to go back to see it, look, I'm going to go to sessions. And I have all my sessions that I've done. Like this is the one that we did earlier today, ended earlier. I have some that I never closed. They're still open. But this is today. And if I want to go back and look at it again, this is what happened in today's space. So that is how we empower our learners to take ownership of their learning, how they're working with it, how they're interacting, they're being critical, and they're, critical, I was going to say applying critical thinking skills as they're working with it, and the chatbot is directing or redirecting the students. So it also highlights any bad words that the students say, inappropriate language, or if they try to ask questions that are not related. You know, we have a lot of those students that are kind of like want to deviate from from the learning, the chatbot will redirect and say, that's a great question, but we're talking about this right now. So it's pretty awesome. How much time do I have? I think I got about 15 minutes, maybe. Let me look at it. Till 1:45. Okay, I got 20 minutes. Perfect. So I want to show you, and this is what they call School AI 1.0. So this is the current version of School AI, but it's going to change a little bit. In no pasa nada, it's just going to look cleaner. It's going to look a lot better. It's going to be more teacher friendly too. This is the new version. This is, notice what this is called right here on the left side. It's literally called MySpace. So some of us who are getting nostalgic and remembering when we would code the background of MySpace, guess what? You're gonna be able to join MySpace once again. So that's gonna be cool. So as we start here, I can create a student space. I can create a teacher space if I'm leading a PLC, or administrators, they can create a staff space with content and materials for teachers. It's going to be essentially the same thing. There's more steps involved, but what the great thing is about all these additional steps, it gets very targeted and very tailored to what you want. And there are also power-ups that students can use. I'm going to show you one really quick. I built this one yesterday, watershed protection PSA project. This is what it is. It's still talking about watersheds. It's still talking about, this is a picture from near Benton, Rio Grande State Park. Notice it's got the same thing. You'll investigate how humans both help and harm watersheds. Same concept that we're talking about, except this is in 2.0. But I'm gonna, let's see here. Where is the edit? I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna show you on the left side is all the introduction. I want a space for students to learn about the standard and create a script for a short PSA as a final product. My students are 7th graders who are learning the following. There's a standard that I added. This is what I want to show you. In 2.0, there's going to be power-ups. And this document generator, students are going to be able to type on a document that the chatbot works, and they're going to be able to draft. If you're asking them to draft or create content, it's all going to be on there. There are several power-ups that you can add, such as a chess game, a doodle board, flashcards, graphing calculator. So my math teacher, finally, something with math is coming. You're gonna have access to Desmos in these in this 2.0 image generator, My Math Plan Explorer, presentation generator. All of that's going to be available for you for your students as they're working with this chatbot. So if you ask me, that is pretty awesome. But again, it's going to look similar. Well, it's going to look better. This is what the space is going to look like for students. Hey, I'm Dot. Let's start with watershed. So watershed is an area where all water drains to a common point. Runoff is water flowing over land. Groundwater is water underground. How would you define watershed in your own words? Can you name one human activity that helps watersheds and one that harms it? So I'm going to come in here. So a watershed is where all the water whether it rains from a river, lake, streams, it drains to. One activity that helps is conserving water and being mindful when we're showering or brushing our teeth. And one activity that harms is when we dump chemicals into the road that eventually make their way into the groundwater. So I spoke to it because I didn't want to type all of that. And here's what it converted it for me. I send it, and now the chatbot's going to start interacting with it, with what I said, and then we can continue having those conversations. So let's see what it says. Working on it. Okay, come on, Dot. We can go. We got to. There you go. Watershed impacts. Oh, look, I got a markup tool to utilize this table effectively. Students should examine various documents. So now I got more information. So the 1.0 that I showed you is good. This is, I think, better. And I got the interaction here on the left side. So I can continue working from this. I wanted to show you this because this is what it's going to look like in the future. But now we are good. And that is School AI. I'm going to revert back to the previous experience to 1.0. This is School AI, where you can create spaces for your students. And it's amazing. Any questions on School AI? Because I got to show you Diffit right now. Gives me 15 minutes, which is perfect. Again, these sessions are being recorded. The PSJA team will have it for you. Excellent. Okay, so the next application that we're going to go to is Diffit. And my keyboard went to sleep. Come on, keyboard. Diffit. Pero before we get there, I want you to go to Diffit using this link. If you go to Diffit using the link that I added in the chat, that is going to give you 3 months. In fact, some of our people earlier were getting free Diffit all the way to January. So basically the entire semester free. So you get all premium features in Diffit free for the next 3 months or even maybe the semester. So if you open Diffit by using the link in the chat, and Diffit, Dina, I can share the code with you if you're going to be training on Diffit, and then you can give it to your participants. In fact, you can copy the same link, add it to your presentation, and then share with your with the teachers that attend your training on Wednesday. Yeah. So yeah, you can just copy it or email me, and I'll email you the link directly. So it will give everybody 3 months of Diffit. And I'll be there at the conference too. Well, at the secondary one. Anyways, we're going to Diffit now. All right. Let's see. Odali's got until January. So basically, you have the entire semester of Diffit Premium. So use it as much as you need to. I'm going to log in. Says teachers start here. I don't use the link because it gets wonky for me. It says I already redeemed the code, and it'll just yeah. So anyways, so we have here Diffit. Diffit was created to differentiate materials. We're not going to do that. I'm going to give you an example of what it does. So again, it was started for differentiated instruction, but it got so popular that people started using it for everything. And literally you can search for literally anything just by typing here, human impact on the watershed. If I type that and align it to 7th grade, and it'll start creating something. And Diffit will always give me an informational text, and we know how important that is for our students to read nonfiction informational text and be able to decode, not decode, but really break down and understand what's going on there. It'll give us that. Human impact, it says Chesapeake Bay. I don't like the picture. I'll change it in a bit. But here it is, informational text, a short summary or main idea, vocabulary words, multiple choice questions, short answer questions, think, pair, share, and then cause and effect. I think cause and effect is appropriate for this concept. We'll just leave it there. But if I wanted to add activities, I can hit the plus on the left side. And now I have all of these activities and graphic organizers that I can select from. One of my favorite ones is collaboration. I have 4 different graphic organizers that I can use for collaboration while we read this concept. So I can do that. I can maybe add more questions, and I have all of these multiple choice questions. I can add more and more erasers. So we're looking at the like at the A strategy. This is very similar to that. We can format it to that as well. So if I wanted to, I could add more. I'm going to click on multiple choice questions. So that way you can see that it's adding it to the bottom here. So I still have multiple choice questions here. And now I have multiple choice questions at the bottom. I'm going to delete it because I just wanted to show you that you could add it and just hit delete. Now, what do I do with this? Well, I can export to Google Docs. Now, word of caution, the more that we do, it does get repetitive. So, you know, it's not something that, you know, we don't want our instruction to depend on Diffit. We want Diffit to maybe differentiate for our learners, or maybe something happens and I need to be out and I didn't have anything prepared for my students. I can go to Diffit, create something, post it in Google Classroom, email it to somebody, and then they can have it ready for my kiddos. I said a while ago that I didn't like this picture. Notice how I'm clicking on it and I'm gonna delete it and it just moves up my text. And I still have my text, my vocabulary, my multiple choice questions, my short answer questions, my think per share, and my cause and effect graphic organizer. That's because I send it to Google Docs. I could also send it directly to Google Classroom. I'm gonna select my class, assign it to all students, make sure that I change it to, I make a copy for each child, assign it, y vámonos. Now all my students have a um, a copy so that they can start working on whether they use Cami. Actually, they don't even use Cami. They have it's on Docs, so they can start building directly from there. Now, if you have a bunch of questions, I'm gonna hit export really quick, and I forgot to mention this to my other morning group, but you could export directly to Google Forms. Your multiple choice question, send it directly to Google Forms. It's right here. Create Google Forms, and it's gonna create a quiz for me. So that way, maybe we read this during class, and I wanna give it to them as an exit ticket. Open Google Forms, y ahí está. It's already set. It's a quick way for us to check for understanding as we are done. And we're not done yet. We got a few more minutes. I got about 7 minutes, and I'm gonna use every second of it. That's exporting to Google Docs. But let's say I'm teaching 7th grade, and I have one of my students that came from Mexico. I can change it to Espanol, and it'll translate the entire document. Summary, questions, vocabulary words, graphic organizers. It'll change everything, I'm sorry, to Espanol. Again, I'm gonna delete the photo, or I'm gonna add a different one. I'm gonna add that one, select image. Y aquí está. Una cuenca hidrográfica es como una bañera gigante. Es un área de tierra donde todo el agua, ya sea de lluvia, nieve o incluso manantiales subterráneos, fluye hasta un solo lugar. So now I have it in español. So I'm going to come back to where I was initially. And that's by clicking on my resources, a little folder. Because I was saying, what if I teach in 7th grade and I have a student that reads at a 4th grade level. Pues aquí lo cambiamos. It's perfect. Hit 4th grade, regenerate. And now all the content, vocabulary words, everything stays pretty much the same, but now it's at a 4th grade reading level. Y aquí está. It's a little shorter. The idea stays the same. Here's our vocabulary, multiple choice questions, short answer questions, and these. So yeah, now you can change it. Now, what I want to show you here under questions really quickly, I'm going to put it in multiple choice anyways. I'm going to click on add questions. And okay, I got 7 minutes. I'm going to change to depth of knowledge. I'm going to put strategic thinking. That's DOK 3. And I'm going to add 2 questions. For DOK 3, get questions, because this is important that I mention this, because you know how we're always telling our students, hey, use textual evidence? Mira, the passage mentions that watersheds act like natural filters. So it's always referring back the students to that text, so that way they can find those responses. So that's a good way of doing, asking our students to cite textual evidence. Okay, I am here. I'm gonna come back to my presentation. While I go to my presentation, there is that chat. I'm sorry, in the chat, there's a survey for the session. That is for PSJA. I'm gonna add one for me just because I wanna grow professionally and see what else or how else I can help you all. So I'm gonna collect some, if you don't mind filling this out for me in the chat. Again, the more important one, or the more important one, is the Google form that the PSJA team shared with you, but I also have, not that one, sorry, I got the wrong link. Here, not Diffit, you already have the Diffit one.